say this. I just turned in, just before I came to the show, the first script for the third part of the trilogy. So the third part of the trilogy will be 5 issues, like Ronin and Re-Evolution, 40 pages each. Just turned in that first script. I can't say much more about it.
Okay.
But I will say this. The one thing I will say is it picks up 1 week after Re-Evolution. So at the end of Re-Evolution, we pick up a week later, and I will say this. The first issue kicks freaking ass.
Yeah.
In the same way the first issue of Last Ronin kicked butt. So it's a very active beginning. I will say that. Very active. I won't, that's all I'm going to say right now. But what I will say in the meantime, we, between series, we did the Lost Years book between Re-Evolution and Last Ronin. And Lost Years was not planned. That was one of those things where Paramount and IDW said, we would like to have some more Ronin stuff on the shelves right now. Can you guys have a story? And, we hadn't plotted out Re-Evolution yet. And I said, well, we never told, what happened to Mikey. We never really showed. We talked about it. We never showed what happened to him in Japan and coming across, Europe. And they said, okay, let's do that. So it was just basically, that was kind of like a prequel sequel, like as everybody knows, kind of filling in gaps that were kind of alluded to in the Last Ronin, but we were never presented. So here we are, fast forward, Re-Evolution is done. They kind of wanted something else in between the trilogy finale. And so one thing that Kevin and I were always wanting to tell was the story of how Mikey trained Casey. Because in Last Ronin, he decides to be her sensei, she's excited, next thing you know, they're in full bore battle. And somewhere in between there had to be some kind of training, and this is, you think of like Karate Kid kind of thing, and Master Miyagi. So we got a chance. This is a 48-page one-shot. Scourses are doing the main art. Ben has
2 pages.
2 pages. So we still have 2 pages that we still keep everybody abreast of, and it makes sense to the story of the new Turtles, and it's kind of a fill in between. The main story is a fill in between issue, I think it's 3 and 4 of Last Ronin, and then we are kind of like in that Lost Day time frame for the new Turtles. But this story turned out so freaking good. I mean, the Scorsese brothers are drawing at a whole new level right now. And you can tell, after drawing this for so long, they're just in this rhythm right now. But Training Day comes out, I believe, July.
28, so a week before San Diego.
Right before Comic-Con.
July 21st.
And it's almost all done, and it turned out to be fantastic. I mean, and it was something I was excited to draw or write and see drawn. And it's just, again, one of those things that kind of exceeded my expectations. Because, we never want things just to be a fill-in, but it was one of those stories where we're like, oh, we can tell the story and it'll be something that will keep people engaged until we get to the final part of the trilogy. So I am telling people, don't sleep on Training Day at all. And, Ronin fans have been awesome and very dedicated to the book, and we know that our fan base is excited about new stuff. But Training Day is just a bombastic story from the beginning to the end. It never lets up, and you really get a good look at that relationship between Casey and Mikey, and especially at the end of Ronin when he passes away and he passes on this journal to her stuff. I think that'll actually add impact. Right.
Who at Paramount do we all need to write angry letters to about them canning the Ronin movie? And
actually, you know what?
Is there still hope for an R-rated Ronin movie?
It's not canned. No, I think
You heard it here.
my feeling about the movie is from the people I've talked to and stuff. I think because there was so much, all these mergers that were happening and different people coming in leadership and different people were having a say, that tends to happen. And I think the best way to do it is is to support Ronin. So we've got a novelization coming out. Eric Burnham wrote that's coming out in June. An actual novelization of the Last Ronin. You can pre-order that on Amazon or your bookstores right now. Cool. I think if that sells well, money talks, and that kind of gets attention at the top. I think they were just trying to decide, okay, now we're in charge of Turtles, what should we do? But I do know behind the scenes, Ronin is a huge priority for Paramount and Nickelodeon. And I think it's just a matter of all that getting sorted out. So the movie's not done. The movie is gonna happen. I don't know when, I'm not gonna try to predict when or how or where, who's going to do it, but nobody's saying, we'll never do this movie. They're just saying, we can't do it right now because these other factors. But in the meantime, there is some cool news coming, about things, other media. And so there's things that are happening behind the scenes, some that I can't talk about. One in particular I'm really excited about, but as far as like the movie,
He'll say it in a couple seconds.
no, I can't say it. But we'll be quiet. But when we talk about it with Paramount, and we do quite a bit, they're always saying, "Oh yeah, no, this is our baby." There's a reason there's a training day because they don't want a long gap in publishing. They want Ronin out in front of people still because they know ultimately something is going to happen, whether it's a movie or a TV show, whatever it may be. I don't know. Nobody's given me any specifics. But the one thing that I've always gotten the sense of, and I think Kevin mentioned in an interview recently too, was like, it's not dead. Right now, it's just in kind of in a like a corporate limbo, but not in like in a hopeless way at all. It's just like, where does this make the most sense? And in the meantime, until we figure that out, there's going to be other things that are going to get people excited.
Alright, probably have time for like one more question.
I'm good. Unless we got to get out of here, we can.
Okay,
Let's do three.